Welcome back, still rubbing minds, and of course, glad you can join us this Sunday afternoon. Now, we all know about movie industry, we know about Nollywood, we know about how much light it has brought to the country in terms of revenue, in terms of exposure. But the truth is, there are a number of people who are working behind the scenes, making sure that the whole world gets to see and hear about everything we do. I have two guests in the studio with me, the founder and the manager of ARIFF, who are basically being very busy last 5 years. This is the 6th edition, and when you follow their story, it is incredible how much they've been able to achieve, them and the whole team. And we're like, you know what, they have to come into the studio and let us in on some of the highlights to expect in the coming edition. Chioma, how are you? Welcome to Rubbing Minds. And of course, we do have Ikenna. Great to have you, my brother.
Thank you very much.
I do not even know where to start, and I think the beginning is the best place to start. Chioma, you are the founder.
Yep.
What gave you the audacity to think that you could actually venture into this and create this festival that Africa and the whole world now knows as the go-to place for African movies?
What gave me the audacity?
Yes.
Well, my love for movies, and then the strongholds that were with me. Orunto Douglas and Marcus Sineji. They were there to support me, encourage me, and say, you know, you can make your dreams come true. And for me, it was trying to put something on the map.
And you did. I mean, the African International Film Festival is become more or less, I mean, in every home, in the world of Nollywood and movie actors, everybody's vying to be here. This year's theme is what?
Broadway.
Okay.
Yes. There's been a spotlight on Nigeria, the Nollywood, African cinema. Toronto Film Festival, being one of the big fives, had a spotlight on Lagos and Nollywood this year. The London Film Festival so we're welcoming the world, and this year we also want to marry Broadway with films.
And talking about Broadway, let me throw this to Ikenna. I myself, I am guilty, like maybe most Nigerians, of not being, not most Nigerians, a select few, of not being as involved in the movie industry. People are beginning to realize that it's not the movie industry of before.
Yes.
Yes. The stories are getting very good.
Yes.
The production is getting the budget is getting up there, yes. And the caliber and quality of actors is also increasing. So what do you think has been responsible for this?
Okay, historically, just looking at our involvement in ARIFF, what has happened is that with platforms like ARIFF, you know, there have been other platforms as well who have behind the scenes worked out to provide trainings to build capacity for the industry. You know, there have been all sorts of bodies as well who have made some input in here. And even the filmmakers themselves, even because at some point there was some kind of should I call it a lull in Nollywood, because they understood that they couldn't just be going in one direction. So talking to the big producers, they'll tell you, you know, some of them had to go back to school, you know, go to film schools. A lot of other young people coming in from abroad, you know, like, you know, a lot of kids returning from abroad. Even, you know, just checking the Nollywood history of marketers who are selling land and all that and funding films. Now you have Nollywood where you have rich people who have kids who are filmmakers, and you know, people who have actually built themselves up career-wise as filmmakers, taking the opportunity to go to all sorts.
You wanted to say something, Chioma?
We have the idea to make great movies. We know we have the know-how now, but the funding has always been very, very, very crucial to all of this. So now we have Access Bank, we have POI, we have big institutions coming up and saying, you know what, we have funding for your films. So it makes it a lot easier to bring forward the better films we're talking about today.
But how do you address the issue which has always been plaguing the industry as to how to monetize these movies? I remember a lot of my colleagues and friends back in the days would be frustrated with the fact that banks ask for business plans, etc. And here you have a bank backing this. But have you been able to justify, or are they just investing hoping that these things will come around revenue-wise?
Okay, I'll say one thing with regards to that. We have so many avenues now for making, realizing our monies for the films. So you have Netflix in Nigeria, you have the VOD platforms, you have many. There's so many outlets. Unlike before, I was just selling the DVDs, and then we have the cinemas. The cinemas are growing. Many people are looking to start community cinemas. There's a lot of talk on funding as communities. I haven't seen any yet, but yeah.
I've had the talk too.
Exactly. So, you can actually sit down, have a business plan and say, this is how I'm going to realize my money, and yeah.
Okay. And moving into the theme, which is Broadway.
Yeah.
I mean, the closest, the layman, I mean, you have the Fela Broadway movie. You have, I think that's probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, that we've had so far. Yeah. And there are a number of them that are more popular outside the country than here. Yeah. Do you think, as a country, we're actually ready for that, or irrespective of whether we're ready or not, the world is ready for us? What's your take?
Irrespective. The world is ready for us. I mean, Fela on Broadway did so well abroad, especially for me, my knowledge of it, especially in New York area, it was really huge. So we're saying, the history of film in Nigeria, I would like to also say, a lot of the big actresses we have now came from theater arts, such courses. It was always Broadway, really. It
was always Broadway.
Yes. So they transited, and we're saying, we could marry it together. And
this year, what are the highlights for this year? When is it kicking off? What are people to look forward to for ARIFF this year?
It kicks off November 13th, and for the first time in the history of film festivals in Africa, I would like to say, we're opening up with Birth of a Nation, and it's a big studio film from America, and that's a huge difference.
Is it by Americans or by us, or?
No, it's by Americans, but they're Black Americans, and it's our history. It's a slave movie.
Okay.
Yes.
Don't we have enough of those already?
No, we don't. How many do we have? 12 years of slave?
I mean, it's 12 years of slave. You watch that movie and you feel like the whole slavery has been packed. I don't know, it's just, for me personally, it feels very overwhelming that, isn't there more to us than just this slavery story? And no, I appreciate it.
I'll tell you what, it's a very impactful story.
Yeah.
It's a very sad story. People don't like to look. I haven't
watched 12 Years a Slave deliberately because I just didn't want to be depressed. As in, it's there in the house, but I just can't bring myself to watch it.
Well, I'll tell you why you should watch this one. It's the first time a slave story is being told by a Black man. First time ever.
Okay, what about our Nigerian actors, producers? Any other features there?
Yes, we have quite a few films. Closing? Yes, we have 76, which is closing the festival. We'll have a few new films coming in from Nigerians as well. Exciting new director, Eric Ahimen, has a film called Slow Country. Action. It's an action film, really. So I urge everybody to come out and see it.
I'm a good action film fan, so that's a good one.
He was quite fantastic with the way he delivered his last film, A Mile from Home, which was a cult story. So he's taken it up a notch this year. So there's that film to see. There are quite a few.
Any big names coming?
Yes, Kunle Afolayan, the CEO. The film is in there. 93 Days is in there. The big guys are definitely in there. The cast from Birth of a Nation, they're coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if people watching want to be part of this, where do they need to go? What do they need to do? Are there tickets involved? Is it walking?
Well, we have it put together in a way that everybody gets involved. If you want to just come and watch films, it's free of charge. We're showing at the Silverbird Cinemas, Genesis Cinemas, at the Film House IMAX. So all you have to do.
IMAX in
but the opening and the closing you can't, because you have to register and you have to get invited.
Okay, let me. My producer is in my ear. We'll be back to just round up very quickly. Of course, it's still Rubbin Minds, and we're talking ARIFF. Stick around right here on Rubbin Minds. We'll be back. Welcome back, still Rubbin Minds, and of course talking about ARIFF. We are talking about movies. We're talking about the Broadway, and I mean, when I did some research, I found that there's also the theme of embracing the world. You have about 150 films from over 40 countries.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yes. Well, that's how we've always kind of structured the Africa International Film Festival, because we wanted to localize it in this industry as an international platform, not only to showcase the local people, but create access for the foreign, knowledge and all sorts of collaborations to come in, and that's happening.
And talking about knowledge, how much knowledge is actually being transferred? Yes, we watch the movies, but isn't there more to just watching the movies?
Definitely. That's the thing about Film Festival. It is a big networking platform. So there is proper programs structured within the festival circuit. For instance, we have the big program on industry. The industry program, we have master classes, we have seminars in there, we'll have panels of discussions, we'll be talking about creative distribution. You have people coming from France, you have people coming from Finland, you have all sorts of people from, to teach classes, talk about post-production, coloring, directing, all sorts of things in there.
Now, based on what you've worked with, I mean, you've been planning this for a year. It takes about, once this is ending, you're planning the next one. Where do you see Nigeria in the scale of post-production? Acting, yes, we even some might even argue that we're not yet there.
Yeah.
But in terms of the technicality of the industry, where do you put us?
Well, we're making a quick push. I'd say that we're doing a lot. We're growing quickly, and that is happening because we've realized that we have a problem with this. So, like I talked about in the beginning, people are going for trainings, exposing themselves.
Yeah, well, I think our post-production is not.
It's not there yet.
No, it's not there at all. There are very few people that work on post-production in Nigeria.
Because I hear a lot of people still go out there.
A lot of people still go out. Yes, it's really still very.
Yeah. So bad, infrastructure is a big deal.
Yes.
It's one of the things that even as a festival, we're having conversations about how we can make those collaborations possible.
Exactly.
And thank God for social media now. It's easier to actually disseminate information.
Yes.
How can people follow the story of ARIFF right now?
All our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, at ARIFF on Instagram, at ARIFF on Twitter, RIFF.
Okay.
Yeah. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter. On YouTube, you can see our videos on our YouTube channel. On Facebook, we have a group on Facebook as well. So if you want all the information on films, you can follow us on all our platforms.
That's fantastic, and I'm so proud of you, Chairman, the whole team. Well done. Ikenna, good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
I know you have a broad shoulder, so I'm sure you can actually carry literally figure of speech.
It's a whole lot of work.
It's a whole lot of work, and well done to you guys. Thank you for flying the flag high. I'll send you an invite to my next movie.
Sure. And we'll help you distribute it.
Yes, you better, because in this economy, you have to diversify. Still Rubbing Minds, and we'll be back after this break. We have a guest in the studio. She is a Nollywood sensation. Her career has taken her all over the world, and but not maybe physically, but in terms of patronage of her movies and a series, and she's acted along the greats. I'm talking about people like Funke Akindele, Joseph Benjamin, Auntie Joke Silva, and the list just goes on and on. You might know her as Lovette from Lekki Wives, and that's all I have to say. And if you do not know, well, stick around and find out who I'm talking about after the break.